What's up, guys? Today we're going to look at a different type of workout than a lot of the other ones that I've been posting. I've been trying to post a lot of exercises that can be done at a beginner level. Where you can really just work your way into things, take breaks when you need them, and good to just get you up and moving and kind of reintroducing yourself to what it means to do some exercises. These exercises and this particular workout, even though it's actually can be on the lower end of things, it does at least require you to have some minimal level of fitness going into it, or you're going to have a really hard time accessing the benefits here. There's going to be a lot of changes that are going to take place. Some of these moves are going to be a little bit more complicated. I'm going to try to create a couple of scaling methods that you can do to help yourself out. Another thing that you're really going to need going into this is a good mindset that you're going to work as hard as you can. These exercises are going to require you to work until failure, and you're really going to need to push yourself to define what failure is and not quit early, but to go as long as you can, as correctly as you can, so that you're not hurting yourself before you transition out of each exercise. Now, the process of this workout is it's going to be what we might call an elimination workout, which is where I'm going to do an exercise until I get to the point of exhaustion and I just cannot properly perform that exercise anymore. Now, when I reach that point, instead of stopping, what I'm going to do is implement some sort of tool that's going to allow me to continue to push that same muscle group farther. So, what this might mean if I was in a setting in a gym and I was lifting weights would be that I would continue to do the exact same exercise, but when I get to the point where I can do no more, I'm going to just decrease the weight so that I can do some more. And then when I can't do any more, I'll decrease the weight again and again and again as needed until I just cannot perform the exercise correctly anymore. Not until you are so sore that you can't move or have no energy left, but until you can't perform the exercise correctly. We don't want to get to a point where our exhaustion is causing us to compensate and make the move easier, but by putting stress in areas where we don't want it. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to make sure this can be done anywhere, at home, and with no equipment necessary. So, in order to do that, it becomes difficult to drop the weight of your exercise and instead to change up to another version of the same exercise that's going to allow you to have to exert less force in order to complete it. Don't get me wrong, this is going to be an intense exercise, and it's mostly, if you can do the full version, it's built around really building up strength and power. It's going to be great for just burning off fat and gaining muscle like any other exercise that you want, but these ones especially are going to charge you to not just squeeze and try to get that regular muscle growth that you're used to, but to really push for that power aspect by needing to engage fast, hard motions instead of slow isometric holds as much as we can. There are going to be some areas where without equipment, we might need to turn to some of those things. And if you have some kind of minimal equipment, I'll give you a couple of different options that you can try to do instead, depending on their availability. We're going to split this into a full body workout, but with exercises into splits. So we're going to break down muscle groups and do exercises based on that. So first, I might do things for upper body, lower body, core. I can focus on back, shoulders, buys, whatever it may be. We're going to group these things together before we move on going through here. But we're going to do a full body workout in the end. So it's important that if you want the full effect of this, you don't want to skip any section. The other thing that you want to do for the best conditioning that you can get with this exercise group is you want to rest in between the sets, but you cannot rest during we're going to join them up into A, B sets of exercises. So you can't rest in between. When you reach the first failure, you need to immediately go into the next exercise until you completely exhaust yourself from that A, B set. Then you're going to take a prescribed rest period and go back again, unless you're moving on to the next set, in which case still you're going to take that prescribed rest before moving on. So I'll kind of prompt you where those rests are going to come in. I'm going to walk you through the entire exercise workout as we go. So if you want to give this one a shot, give it a shot, but be warned, some of these exercises are going to be pretty intense. They're not all set up for beginners, but the style of this should make it accessible to anybody, but you're going to need to carefully scale this. If you can only do one or two of an exercise before you just cannot do any more, then you need to go down to an easier version of the exercise. All right, make sure you're ready for this one. You're rested, you're hydrated, keep your water nearby. You're in the right mindset that you're going to work as hard as you can. And
the first exercise we're going to do is an in and out plyo push-up. So you're going to push powerfully out of the bottom of the push-up, and you're going to switch between these in and out positions. Now you want to be especially careful when you get tired on these. When you start to really feel that sag, which you can see I'm starting to get already as you're coming into catching yourself, you want to switch to the B exercise, which is going to be the step through push-up. Just take your leg, swing it through the opposite side out of the way, and bring yourself down. Try to keep yourself going down as straight as you can without putting too much excess weight in one shoulder. A different option you could do is the normal plyo push-up without the in and out. This makes the starting a little bit easier. And then what you can do when you get tired there is switch into a walking push-up. That's still going to give you that extended wide position. That way you're getting both key aspects of the exercise here. And if either of those both sound too challenging, you could try this combination here, the normal push-up. And now this one isn't going to give you nearly as many good benefits, but it's a great way to just make it more accessible to everybody. And when you just can't do any more push-ups this way, you just go down to your knees and finish out as many push-ups as you can to failure from that position. The next group of exercises that you want to do is going to start with what we call the thumbs up push-up. And during these push-ups, you're focusing actually more on the eccentric movement as you're working your way down, feeling the resistance through your upper back to try to fight that downward motion and turn it back around into pressing out. Then when you're done with these, we're going to go into a pretty complicated move here. You call it like the reverse push-up, the elbow push-up. I don't like these. I find it really hard to get the feeling. You can kind of see, I'll take my time. It's really difficult for me to not use my core and my abs to try to raise up. You want to be pushing through your elbows and feel that squeeze in your upper back to be what's lifting you up. You can do this as quickly as you're feeling that squeeze. But if you're like me and you have trouble, there's a couple other exercises you could do. I wouldn't give up on the thumbs up push up here. So I would stick with that as the A exercise, but we can swap out the B exercise. Now, if you have more options that you can utilize, which I do not really have a lot, here's one you can do is if you can find a good table. I don't really have a good table for this. And you can sort of do a pull up, a lateral pull up on the table. Now, to really just focus on only the back here, instead, what you can do is more of just a scapular pull, where instead of raising up and trying to pull all the way up, I'm going to focus on just squeezing my back in and pulling very, very little. Here you can see I'm not even trying to pull into my biceps at all, and just doing that first inch where I'm squeezing my body weight up through the traps. So that might be an option depending on if you have either a countertop or something like that. And then lastly, I've covered this in another video, but either the face pull with the band here is another really good one. This is my usual go-to that I'll swap out for my B movement, just because I feel like I get a lot better engagement in the traps doing this exercise instead. And you can watch that video for more detail here. Next up, we're going to go into the power plank up. So we're just going to start in this downward plank position and focusing on squeezing through the triceps, push up into a high plank, and then just walk yourself back down. I really focus on where the effort is here and push up all at once through both arms at the same time. Then when you can't do any more of these plank ups, and then you're going to switch down into a push-up position, keeping your hands pretty close to the shoulders. And what you're going to do is go into what's called a cobra push-up. That's what we're going to do in a second. You're going to get the hands close to the shoulders, get down. The hands are back farther than they usually would be for a push-up. And I'm going to try to travel forward. I'm not focusing on pushing my whole body up. I'm focusing on rocking myself forward and pushing through the triceps. You should feel this almost entirely in the triceps instead of anywhere else. Okay, that's our normal A-B combination right there. Now, if you need to adapt, here's one alternative you can do. You can do this with any piece of furniture that kind of lets you get all the way up to it. The farther back you are, or the more you lean your weight into it, the harder work this is going to be. And try to keep your elbows nice and tight when you're doing this. They're going to have a tendency to want to travel out wide, so you can use your shoulders more. Keep your elbows in nice and tight. So there's that one. And something else that pretty much everybody should be able to do is the traditional tricep dip. So if you can get yourself like, I think 2 chairs works really well, so you have good spacing. A dip can work almost anywhere. What I like to do here is get 2 chairs, and I turn my hands around so they're facing the complete opposite direction. So notice the hand placement all the way back. And then I just want to dip as low as I can and press all the way back up. And again, squeezing in the tricep, not using your legs or your core to assist in the lift at all. Okay, those are some alternatives for you. Almost done here. Second to last group, going into the legs. What I'm going to do here is the single leg heel touch. So you're going to do this, it's almost like an A-B-C combination, because you're going to do one leg completely to failure before switching. And all you're doing here is trying to balance on one foot, stand all the way up, reach all the way down, and touch your heel. The more you lean forward during this, the more you're going to put the strain into the glutes, which you kind of want in this case to kind of balance things out. But if you can just stay balanced and do this as long as you can, you're going to work out the full legs individually and get a lot of power, which is really good. Then you're going to go into what's called the rolling split squat. So you can see the roll backwards, forward, right, immediately into a low split squat, staying low the whole time. Now these moves can be replaced by either just a regular split squat, okay, or any other regular squat if you really need to. Here's another assisted move you can do to replace one. This is called a single leg squat, also known as a pistol, but notice I'm using 2 chairs or any other nearby object to help assist me in holding my weight when I do that. And you want to try only, don't lean on them, but use them when you need them to help.
And for our last set of exercises here, we're going to do the power push away. Basically get into a push-up position. Try not to let your knees touch the ground. And you're just going to be trying to push through the shoulders. For this one, you can let the elbows come out. That's the power push away. Then we're going to do a side lateral raise from a plank position. So you can come down to a low plank, pick up one of your arms, and then you're just going to do this one relatively slow, trying to come all the way parallel to the floor at the bottom and all the way perpendicular at the top, really feeling the shoulder doing the work. Now you want to go all the way to failure when you're doing this, but you want to go on both sides. That would be the main method right there. If you want to make it a little bit easier, you can just do your push-aways from the knees. You might be able to do a lot more of these, so don't be surprised. So definitely try to do it off your knees if you can. And then to do the side lateral raise a little bit easier, you can instead just do it as a plank twist. So come to like a side plank and then twist that way, reaching all the way through and then extending all the way up. That's going to be a little bit easier. Your arm that's on the bottom is going to be able to support you much easier from this position and just take the overall strain of the exercise down a little bit. So ideally, the whole routine from the top is the in and out plyo push-up to failure. When you can't do any more of those, you're going to do the step through push-up. And when you've reached failure there with no rest in between, still going, huh? Okay, yep, the step through push-up. Now when you reach failure there, failure meaning you can't do a proper technique anymore, then you're going to take 60 seconds rest, and you're going to repeat those two exercises again 2 more times. Then we're going to go into the thumbs up push-up. Again, to failure when you can't do them anymore. Then you'll go straight into the back widows or the reverse push-up until you can't do any more of those, or you can swap out the exercises. Once you reach failure here, same thing. You're going to take a 60-second rest and then go back to the thumbs up push-up, then reverse push-up, 60 seconds rest, and one more time. The third group is the power plank up. You can't get any more of these without either a rest or losing your form. Then you're going to go down into the cobra push-up. And when you can't do any more of the cobra push-up, then you'll take a 60-second rest and go back to the power plank up, cobra push-up, 60-second rest, then the power plank up, cobra push-up again, then 60-second rest, and you'll move on to the next group, okay, which is the single leg heel touch. You're going to do that to failure on one side, immediately switch to the other leg, do the other leg to failure. Once you've failed both legs on the single leg heel touch, then you're going to go to the rolling split squat to failure there. You can try to alternate which leg goes first here if you can. 60 seconds rest, then go back to single leg, rolling split squat, 60 seconds rest, single leg, rolling split squat, 60 seconds rest, and then we'll be ready for the last group, which is the power push away. When you come to failure there, you go into the side lateral raise, and you're going to do that on each side. Then 60 seconds rest, power push away, side raise on each side, 60 seconds rest, power push away, side lateral raise on each side, and then you're done with the whole thing. Okay, substitute as needed. Use the suggestions I gave you. Let me know if you want any additional help customizing this to yourself. I'm more than happy to walk you through and set up the program for you. Good luck. Don't give up. Give it everything you've got. Go all the way to failure every single time. Good luck.